I'm here in the kitchen with Celinda, and we are making Hawaiian rolls, and we're going to be using the bread machine. Now, Celinda's a novice at this, so we're going to walk her through. So what I'm going to show you first is our ingredients. It calls for 3 eggs. So today we are using the powdered egg. So we're trying to stick with the items that's in the pantry. So if for some reason you didn't have fresh, you would always be able to make Hawaiian rolls. So when you're using the Augason Farm whole egg powder, it's a 1/3 cup of powder to equal amount of water, a 1/3 cup of water. Now you don't have to mix it up ahead of time. You could throw it in with the water and with the liquids and then the powder. I prefer not doing it that way. I like to mix it up. That way I can see it. I know it's mixed, it's incorporated. Then we have bread flour, 6 to 7 cups of bread flour, which we have here in the bowl. A teaspoon of the vanilla, 1/2 teaspoon of the salt. We just kind of threw that in because we like a little extra flavor in our bowls. And then you're going to use, this is ghee. We melted the ghee, and there is a video on how to make ghee if you've never made ghee. Or if you've never had ghee, it's wonderful. It's the best, isn't it?
Love it.
A little bit of nutty flavor. There's no milk solids in it, but just check out the video and it'll go through that. And then we have a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger, powdered ginger. And then we have a 3/4 cup of sugar, white sugar, 4.5 teaspoons of instant yeast, powdered yeast. Then we have a teaspoon of vanilla. See the vanilla here. And then we have, and that little container has the ginger and the salt. And then it's going to be 1 cup of pineapple juice, 1/2 cup of warm water. You want that water between 100 to about 110 degrees. Well, Celinda, you ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Well, let me ask you a few questions first. What is your most challenging thing when you're trying to do food preservation?
The thing that freaks me out the most is the pressure canner.
The pressure canner, huh?
Yes.
What freaks you out about it?
It's just volatile. Everything has to be perfect. You've got to have the right steam, the right pressure, the pounds, and the whole bit. It's scary.
You have to really be paying attention.
I'm trying not to blow up the kitchen.
Yes, and you never walk away from the pressure canner.
No.
One time I had to leave my pressure canner just for a moment because I had a package delivery, came back and it had already started traveling on me. Then you're trying to back down slowly the heat so that way you can keep things, where you don't have that crazy pressure going on. Anyway, well, you know what? We'll work on that too. I'm going to be posting a few more videos on pressure canning. And we do have one for raw packed chicken. So, yeah. Well, shall we get started?
Let's do it.
Have any questions or anything?
No.
Okay, pretty straightforward?
I think so.
Okay, great.
It's suggested to add wet ingredients first to help incorporate wet and dry easier. It is not required, but can make the bread fluffier. The yeast needs to be woken up with the warm water. The sugar feeds the yeast. This causes the bread to rise.
You know what? At a moment like this, I just thought of something, Celinda. Do you remember the time that we made the puffy rolls?
Yes.
And I didn't know how to use your bread machine. And we were taking it apart, finally figured out how to get the bowl out. Got all the ingredients in there. I look over on the counter, and here was the little mixer flipper.
The paddle. You forgot the paddle.
That was so, I just reached in there, stuck it on there, and away we went. Just didn't miss a beat. So always make sure the paddle's in before you put the ingredients in.
We're setting to the dough cycle. It will knead the dough and allow it to rise once before it's completed. Most bread recipes require the bread dough to rise twice, the first time after kneading and again after the dough has been risen for the first time and then shaped. Once shaped, the dough needs to be proofed. Proofing is the process where the dough is rested to allow the yeast to ferment and produce gas bubbles, which helps the dough rise.
Beautiful that is. Absolutely gorgeous. So Celinda just finished using the ghee to grease the pan. Now you want to heavily grease the pan. Don't be shy. If you use butter, heavily butter. And you ready to start making some rolls?
Let's go.
Okay, so Celinda's going to show us the non-scale version of making the rolls. Now, if you do have a scale, one of my favorite things to do is to weigh the whole thing, divide that number by 12. So if it was 1,200, divide that by 12, and then you have what weight each individual roll will be, and that will give you a sense of contingency. But Celinda is very good at eyeballing. So now she's going to, as she's cut them up into 6 pieces, and now she's going to cut each one in half and start forming the rolls. Okay, they are looking wonderful. So now we're going to let them rise pretty much almost to double size. And then when we get back, we're going to put an egg wash on them, and then we get ready to bake. See you in a few. So now that they've gotten nice and huge, Celinda is taking some of the whole egg powder, and I used about 1.5 teaspoons of the powder and then 1.5 teaspoons of the water. And you're just going to give a little bit of an egg wash on top. This helps make them golden, which is always good in a roll. Right, Celinda?
Yes.
And then what we're going to do is put it in a 350 oven. Okay, let's go. Perfect. So now we're going to add some butter onto the top of the rolls. It's going to give it that wonderful, buttery, luscious texture. Doesn't that just smell wonderful?
What do you think?
You know what would be really good on this?
More
ghee! So yummy.
So good. So good.